The Primary Arms GLX 2X Prism Scope. Let's check it out. Primary Arms has just introduced their GLX series of scopes. We're going to take a look today at their 2X Prism Scope, and it's with the ACSS reticle or Advanced Combat Sighting System. The ACSS is the best combat reticle on the market, no matter what the price, in my opinion. It's very simple, but yet it has a lot of capability. Bullet drop, wind holdover, you've got a horseshoe, you've got a chevron. So it's excellent for up close and personal CQB style shooting all the way out to 500 yards. And one of the things about 2X is that you can still shoot it with both eyes open, you can shoot it up close, and yet you can get it way out to distance. It just identifies your target, it focuses it in, and it helps you to really be able to see just a little clearer and a little more crisp. And so to me, this is a perfect optic for your AR-15, or they also make a model for the 7.62 by 3.9 with an AK, which we have it on a KS-47 right here from Palmetto State. And I want to thank Primary Arms for sending both the 5.56 and the 7.62 model and making this video possible. Now we have the Primary Arms GLX mounted on a Saint Gen 1 rifle. It's one of the first AR-15s that Springfield Armory put out. BCM furniture. I'm going to go ahead and pull back the bolt, no magazine, and the gun is empty. Now for a self-defense rifle, I like something a little smaller, and this really fits the bill. I mean, it's 2X, so it's going to give you just that added capability, and yet you can still use this for, close-up style shooting. It just fits really nice on the rifle. It's a small footprint, it's compact, it's fairly light, and yet it gives you decent capability with that 2X feature. I mean, one of the things, again, about 2X, guys, is that it helps you to identify your target a little better, gives you a little more crisp sight picture, and so I just like a little bit of magnification for this type scope. Now on top we have the 5.56, which also is for 308, and 5.45 by 3.9, which is your AK-74. For the AK-47, 7.62 by 3.9, and 300 blackout. And so the reticles are set up to optimize these calibers. But other than slight differences with the reticle, these are exactly the same optics. And here on the bottom we have it on a Palmetto State KS-47. It's only 5.3 inches in length. It weighs 11 ounces. There's a number of different mounts that you can get. We'll take a little bit look at that in a minute. But this is just a screw-on mount. Now this sight itself uses the same type mounting system as your mini ACOG. So there's a lot of quick detach options out there where you can mount this. But this also has risers, so we can bring it down, we can mount it low as well. And it has about a 3.5 inch eye relief. And speaking of eye relief, we've got this diopter on the back. It's a focus ring. Guys, if you have any issue with your eyes, this really comes in handy. The older I get, the more I need to be able to focus that reticle in really tight. Makes it really crisp. And because the ACSS has so much capability, you really want to get a good clear focus. It is rubberized as well. 40 MOA adjustments, both for windage and elevation, at quarter MOA increments. You can take these off really easily. One thing you'll notice is that it does have a little bit of a ledge here to be able to take and sight in the rifle right there in the field. You don't need any special tools. And guys, this is really a great looking scope. It's very streamlined, a lot different than their earlier Prism scopes. Your illumination dial has 11 different settings plus off. But one of the cool things about this is that it is daylight bright. If you're on 11, man, you can see it even in bright sunlight. You can bring it down. One of the big cons, though, for me is I typically leave these on. Now, there is a 20,000 hour battery life, and that is on the medium setting. But one of the big things that this one has is what they call the Auto Live, and this is a motion sensing reticle illumination. So if this rifle is still for a certain amount of time, it shuts down the illumination. Once you pick it up, it immediately comes on, and I've tested that a number of times. I mean, it really comes on really quickly. Right here we have our battery compartment. Just take it right off. This is a CR2032 3-volt battery. These are readily available, and this is typically what most scopes use. One thing I do like also is that it has a rubberized coating around here. So when you're turning your illumination, you've got that rubberized coating. It's going to keep it anti-slip. It's going to be very tactile. You can feel it each time it pops into that notch. Nice detent. And one thing great about the illumination on this one is not only is it daylight bright, but it's also night vision compatible on the low settings. And that's something that really only comes with premium scopes typically. Now here we are at the 11 setting. We're just going to dial it down to 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. These are night vision settings here. And then we have 0. And now we're back to 11. And guys, again, this is daylight bright. Now this is the reticle for the 5.56. This is what you're going to see. You see the illumination, the horseshoe, and then you see the chevron. And then we have 2 dots within the horseshoe, and then you have your bullet drop that goes all the way down. With the 308 version, there's just going to be a few minor differences. Now your aiming point is the tip of the chevron, and that gives you an infinity point, and then you have the donut or the horseshoe that comes around, and it allows you to really focus very quickly onto the target. It centers your eye. Now according to military studies, a man carrying a rifle with a pack is running about 8.6 miles per hour. So when the man hits the edge of the horseshoe, you go ahead and fire. And obviously this comes from right or left. Now below the chevron and the horseshoe, you have your ranging bars. A man standing 5 foot 10 inches at 300 yards will be this tall. A man at 400 yards will be this tall. At 500 yards, this tall. This makes it really easy to be able to estimate distance with a man standing. With a man in the prone position, the bars going across represent 18 inches or shoulder width apart. So at 300 yards to 4 to 5, you can see these represent 18 inches or a man laying prone. Now if you're shooting 5.56 or 5.45 from 50 to 200 yards, the tip of the chevron. 300 yards, the bottom of the chevron. At 400 yards, the first larger dot under the chevron, and then at 500 yards, the dot in between the horseshoe. And when it comes to 308 or 6.5 Grendel, 43 to 200 yards, the tip of the chevron. 300 yards, the bottom. 400 yards, the larger dot, and then 500 yards, the smaller dot. Now if you're shooting out of an AR pistol with a 10.5 inch barrel, 100 yards on the tip of the chevron, and then you can see 200 yards at the bottom of the chevron, 300 yards for the first dot, 400 yards for the bottom dot. Guys, again, this is a versatile reticle system. This is the 7.62 by 39 reticle. You can see there's an added dot, and then also the marks are a little bit different to match the ballistics of 7.62 by 39 or 300 Blackout. But you can go to the Primary Arms website and all these diagrams are there. All right, I want to thank Fiocchi for sponsoring the ammo, all made right here in the USA. We're using some 223 55 grain. Now, as far as practical application, throwing it up on your shoulder, rapid fire, I mean, you don't have to worry about this scope. It is built solid. Prism scopes are, made to really withstand a lot of abuse. With the illuminated reticle, you're able to keep both eyes open. You can see close targets in focus, and it's really easy to bring it up. The size of this scope on your rifle is handy, it's compact, and it's very easy to bring up to your eye. 3.5 inch eye relief, and you've got it in focus. Now with the illumination ring, it makes it really quick. The horseshoe and the chevron just naturally draw your eye to the target, no matter if it's up close or out to distance. Now, taking it out to distance, we started out with the steel at 100 yards. Center, dead center.
Center punch the bolt on it in the neck. Center.
And this scope is set up to range out to 500 yards. And so you have a lot of capability with a very small package. Now the glass is really clear, low dispersion, and so it's going to really give you a great sight picture and being able to utilize that 2x feature. The Objective has threads, and so you can add an anti-reflective device in here. In fact, Primary Arms even offers one that'll go right into this optic. Now it comes with the medium riser. Here we have the larger riser right here, and then we have the low profile riser. Now you'll notice the steel insert with the helicoil threads. When you're mounting this, it preserves the aluminum base. It comes with a really nice Torx wrench to be able to tighten down your mount, and then also included is an Allen wrench. And again, this does fit the ACOG Mini style base. Now we have the GLX 2X here in the middle. This is the Prism Scope. Here is one of Primary Arms' earlier 2.5 power Prism Scopes. And you can see they have really streamlined this down. Now this is a half power more magnification, but definitely they're going in the right direction. And I like the smooth lines, a little cleaner. Here we have the Trijicon ACOG. This is the mini ACOG, 1.5 magnification, and you know, it's small, but it's really expensive. And again, this goes down another half magnification. And this is the Trijicon TA44. It does have the green illumination, it does have a fiber optic rod, and so, you know, it's definitely a very high quality scope. But this one also has the ACSS reticle. And so this is really one of my favorite Trijicons because of that. Now the GLX 2X Prism Scope runs $369.99. It's not a budget scope, but it really gives you premium features for a decent price. The glass is extremely clear. The ACSS reticle, again, is to me one of the best out there. For a combat scope, it is my choice. And then you have the Prism system, which these are built to be able to be fired off of a 50 BMG. So they're very tough, very solid. The illumination is excellent, and that etched reticle gives you the capability in case your electronics fails. And so there's a lot of great features about this scope, and I highly recommend it. I think it goes right on the rifle. It's not too large, and yet it's compact enough to be able to, you know, to use for those close quarter home defense type situations. Now I want to thank Robbie Wheaton for coming out and shooting with us, a national 3-gun champion, a former Marine, a gunsmith for over 20 years. And one of the things about this optic, he was very impressed with the capability and has been a big fan of Primary Arms as well for a long time. And again, I want to thank Primary Arms for sending both optics for us to test and for this evaluation. Rubber Dummies is one of the best training tools on the market, and you get a 10% discount using Suit00 when you click the link down in the description. Be strong, be of good courage. God bless America. Long live the Republic. It's not level, it's not ready, it's not liking it, I don't like it. Okay, you know, say you're 1 to 6 or 1 to 8. So, okay, already said all that. I done said all that, man. What the heck, how many times you gotta say that? The Primary Arms GLX ACSS, God, this is a lot to say. The Primary Arms GLX ACSS 2X Prism Scope. Wow. At least I didn't have to say Advanced Combat Sighting System. We got showered with mud all over.
Lovely. Grant, look what you did to Ryan.
I got it on my forehead.